The new mindset for the new leader. Organizations worldwide spend roughly about 356 billion US dollars on leadership development efforts. Yet, the BrandonHall Group, a human capital research and analyst firm that surveyed 329 organizations in 2013, found that only 75% of the organizations rated their leadership development programs as not very effective. Why aren't companies getting more bang for their leadership development buck? Our latest research suggests this is likely because most leadership development efforts overlook a specific attribute that is foundational to how leaders learn, think, and behave. That is their mindsets. This live stream session is conducted by EIY and also our guest Monica. She will share with us the new mindset of the new leaders and how can you adopt. Miss Monica, she is with an excel balance between her marketing mixed career, her executive coaching and leadership background with proven track record in organization development, talent management, capability building, chain leadership, and effective communication. She has a deep passion exploring how on the intersection of communication, neuroscience, and coaching belongs the human transformations to modify, transform, and improve the way we work. Hello, Miss Monica. Welcome to the show.
Hello, Lanan. It's so nice to be with you today. Thank you so much for the invitation.
Yeah, thank you so much. Could you please share with us the first point related to leadership mindset?
Of course. What are some new mindsets for a new era of work? Mindsets and are leaders' mental lessons that dictate what information they take it and uses to make sense of and navigate the situations, the changes, or the unexpected on this VUCA context we are all living and encounter every day. Simply, mindsets drive what leaders do and why. So, in this new era of work and new era of the world, promote and cultivate a new way of thinking. I mean, our mindset is key to get better, new, faster, improve results. That's why it's so important to understand the power of our leadership in terms of how we think. For example, the way we of thinking explain why two different leaders might approach the same situation or process and respond to it very differently. For example, when you have to deal with one of your team members in a disagreement, one leader might see the situation as a threat that hindered their authority, another as an opportunity to learn and further develop. So that's why we need to understand the various types of mindsets that individuals may possess. We identify four. And these kind of sets of mindsets, I'm going to present you, Lan, and you will see their opposites one to each other to understand the results. So the first sets I call high and low mindset. A high mindset is a belief that people, including oneself, can change their talents, abilities, and intelligence. Conversely, those with a low mindset do not believe that people can change their talents, abilities, and intelligence. The second set, dynamic and task mindsets. Dynamic mindsets involves being motivated toward increasing one's competence and mastering something new. A task mindset involves being motivated toward gaining favorable judgment or avoiding negative judgment about one's competence. Leaders with a dynamic mindset compared to those with a task mindset are more mentally primed to increase their competence, engage in deep level learning strategies, seek out of feedback, and exert more of an effort. They are also more persistent, adaptable, willing to cooperate, and tend to perform at a higher level. The third set is the set called systemic and administered mindset. What that a leader with a systemic mindset have a heightened receptiveness to all kinds of information as a way to ensure that they think and act as optimal as possible. Leaders with an administered mindset, as the name suggests, are more focused on implementing decision, which closes them off to new and different ideas and information. Comparing the two kind of mindsets, leaders with a systemic mindset tend to make more and better decisions because they are more impartial, more accurate, and less biases in their processing and decision making. Or the fourth and last set of mindsets in leadership is the gain and lack mindset. Leaders with a gain mindset are focused on winning and going beyond results. They identify a specific purpose, goal, or destination and prioritize making progress toward that. Leaders with a lack mindset, however, are focused on avoiding losses and preventing problems at all costs. So, those with a gain mindset are more prone to positive thinking, more open to change, more likely to persist despite the challenge, the unexpected, and setbacks, and demonstrate higher levels of task performance and innovative behaviors compared to those leaders with a lack mindset. So that's the overall universe, the cosmos of the mindsets regarding leadership. And once we understand which is your mindset, we can work on gaining new different ways of understanding your mindset to provoke and evoke different and better results.
I see. So I think that we have different kinds of mindsets. And how is it important to your leadership journey, and what are some ways you can practice your mindset, even though that you may have negative mindset or low mindset, just like what you already shared?
Yeah, we always say that you don't have like negative or a positive mindset. It's like think about it. The way I'm thinking is useful for me or not. So if it's not useful, can I change it? Of course, everyone can do that. The thing is like we need to understand in which kind of way of thinking we are thinking to solve a problem. So if we change the way we are thinking, we can solve the problem in another perspective. So that's why it's so important to understand the power inner us. And it's the power to choose something different in each situation. I mean, it's like we are always so focused in something, and it's like it has to be like this. But first thing is like, is this okay for me? Is this positive for me? So if it's a no, after the question, try to make another option. So that's the most important thing to understand, that you have the possibility to change, and you have the possibility to change because you have many routes to do that. For example, if you know that when you're dealing with a communication issue with a pair on your cell level, you can't be on a lack mindset. You cannot, because it's not going to be useful for you, for the relation, and to solve that issue. So put yourself and try to think like, for example, the dynamic mindset will do that, like overviewing what's the reality of the issue to understand how to do that. But what happened? Sometimes what happened is like we need support from the exterior. We didn't know how to make it our own because we have to learn new things.
No,
So
to be true.
yeah, that's the thing. So that's why it's so important to count on a coach or to count on a mentor specialized in leadership.
I see. So that those are some ways that we can cultivate the growth mindset in leadership. Can you share with us one example that you have observed that person since the time that they didn't have a growth mindset until the time that they have growth mindset and how they can advance their career with that change?
Yeah, for example, it's like a great example. I was coaching several years ago uh, a young lady. She was promoted to a new role in her company. So she was the new general manager for communication and PR. So the thing is, like, she has a really long background at her company. She started as a trainee. So in those 20 years, she made a great performance, and she did it as well to be promoted as this kind of level of manager level in her company. So in that moment, she needs to work on leadership through her mindset, because she thought she was too young for that level. She was compared to her peers at the
Yeah.
same time, because for her they were their bosses, and suddenly she was a peer to them. So we work on her leadership and her self-confidence in order to define her own leadership style. And we work through the mindset. She established different perspectives to understand she can think differently, first from herself, and second from her actions, in order to impact on her team, her peers, and also on her boss, the CEO, and internationally. So we work on a leadership coaching process through her way of thinking on her leadership mindset, in terms of using dynamic and systemic way of thinking. We use the creative and the critical thinking as well, and also the self awareness drive as a potential to create the perfect yes, I know, yes, I believe in myself. So after 2 years of working with her in two different leadership coaching process, she is now one of the most important managers in the headquarter of this company in France. She defined a new way of understanding the process and the working methodology in terms of communication, and she improves as well the performance of the country, that she got this new promotion to expand the way she was working in the country to the rest of the company headquarters. So that can be like a simple example of how an individual can change the way they're thinking in order to make a great impact in herself, in this case, and in others, getting new, better, and improved results.
Yeah, I think one of the ways to cultivate growth mindset is to be aware of your growth mindset and fixed mindset. How can we practice being aware of it so that we can enhance our growth mindset?
Yeah, I think it's so important what you've mentioned. And it's like something very important to understand is occupying a leadership position is not the same that it's not the same thing as leading. So to lead, you must be able to connect,
Yeah,
motivate, and inspire a sense of ownership of shared
sure.
objectives. But the thing is, like, if you have to start first from yourself to give that to the others. If you don't do that to yourself, you can do to the others. So it's important to understand, like, to lead and to become a great leader means that you have to start from your own path, your own journey on the leadership. So it's important first to understand yourself. It's important to believe first that you are a leader, and how you want to promote that to the others. It's not about you. It's about becoming the others. It's to serve from your greatest purpose to the others, and that's very important. A leader also has a great purpose. If you don't have a purpose, you have to define in order to become a leader. You have to define and you have to drive your purpose to the others from yourself with your great values. So if you don't have your values yet defined, please define them. So once you have your purpose, it's like your focus, your light, and when you have your values, the things that are going to enrich the experience, you're ready to lead the world, to lead a team, to lead a company. But if you don't have that, you're going to focus on task, on saying what is has to be implemented, on direct the other, not guide the other, on the authority, and not on the partnering with other, on the support the other to make the other develop their own capabilities and abilities to perform better. And that's very important to understand.
I see. Miss Marika, I think that we are coming to the final part of our live stream tonight. What is your final message that you would like to share with our viewers? And it would be great if you can put it in one sentence.
For me, in one sentence, it will be: a leader is the wealth fountain of better solutions.
Awesome. Very awesome. Very meaningful. Thank you so much, Miss Morika, for joining us tonight. On behalf of our viewers, I do appreciate that. And hi, everyone. We are going to have another live stream session conducted this Saturday night at 8 p.m. with the topic branding your business. And we hope to see you at that time. Bye bye.
Bye.